conversation, we zero in on Iraq and Iran. Our military analysts, I think, are the best in the business. I hear at Fox, and they think that this is now Vietnam in the sense of it's a war of attrition, that the Al-Qaeda and the Sunni fanatics have said, we're going to wear the United States of America down. Okay, we're going to bomb them down, just like Ho Chi Minh did in Vietnam. And sooner or later, probably sooner, the American public is going to turn on the action, demand they pull out. The American public is now against the war, according to the polls. Is the war of attrition being won by the terrorists and the Sunnis?
Well, I don't see this as a war of attrition, and I think the Vietnam analogy is really faulty. You don't have, for instance, a big conventional army on the other side of the line, as you did with the North Vietnamese army, with lots of outside help from China and Russia, Soviet Union and others. And you certainly don't have a, quote, resistance movement that could be thought of in the least as popular. This is not a popular movement by any stretch of the imagination, and that's why it will not take hold in Iraq, and it will eventually die.
But it's been a successful movement in the sense that most Americans are now against the Iraq war. They don't feel it's going well.
I also see an American public that says we shouldn't leave until the job is done. They don't want to prematurely withdraw. No,
they just think we're not doing well there.
But I think the reason it's hard for people to see that we're doing well is it's a lot easier to see the violence every day, and it was horrible violence today. Again,
is it press-driven then?
Well, it is easier to put a picture on television of a suicide bomb than to show the kind of process that's going on where people are registering to vote and people's lives are coming back.
But most of the press, and we talked about this earlier in the first segment, most of the press is anti the Iraq action. You see, you have an administration that is up against a tremendous press juggernaut that doesn't like you.
Well, it's also hard.
You know that, right?
Well, quite apart from what the press may or may not like, there is also the problem that the press reports on a daily basis, headlines every day, when in fact this is a somewhat longer-term process in Iraq, and where the political process has been moving just inexorably along. That's harder to see. That's harder to report on. But, you know, there are times when people see it. When 8.5 million Iraqis went out and voted,
yeah, it was big.
People knew that we were in Iraq for the right reason.
Yeah, but the truth of the matter is that our correspondents here at Fox News can't go out for a cup of coffee in Baghdad.
No, but the people
That's tough.
It's tough. But would they have wanted to go out for a cup of coffee in Baghdad when Saddam Hussein was in power? I don't think so.
No, but after 3 years, you expect a little security in the country.
No, but there is security in
they can't get coffee.
13 of the 16 provinces in that country are relatively stable. We just turned over in Najaf in the south control of that holy city to the Iraqi forces. You can go to most of that country and it's fine. There is a part of the country, and unfortunately Baghdad, the capital,